I'm going to open with a poem, and that poem is going to give you some sense of what this workshop is about. And then we're going to go out and light the fire. And it's a poem that was written by Marianne Williamson. Sometimes it's attributed to Nelson Mandela because he used it in some of his talks. He was quoting her. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful, beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God, and your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking, so others won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make and manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. That's what this workshop is about. Any questions about this? Okay. I'm going to give everyone a lighter, and let's all troop outside and light the fire together. And as we're doing it, I want you to think about what the fire will represent for you and what you want to get out of the evening.
Hi, I'm Allison Rollins, and Daniel Fusen and I just finished Walking on Fire.
Make really large financial mistakes these days. So people come in wanting to know, are they on the right track? What's preventing us from getting what we really want? Generally, it's habits. It's emotions that are getting in our way. So we track our expenses and we start to have plans and goals about how we're going to move forward. These are things that I help people do.
Research shows lifestyle choices can really help prevent chronic diseases such as heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes.
For me, wellness is a complete approach to my physical, my spiritual, and my astral body, and it's a practice.
I'm all about the story. I was a lowly young member, 26 years old, but I had a master's degree in health administration. They said, "Little girl, come over here. You're our new CEO." Acting, of course.
Everything is energy. Your body, your thoughts, and every spiritual resonance that exists in and around you is a vibrating wave of light.
My idea of wellness is living in balance in one's body, mind, and spirit. Through the 3 stages of work that I offer people to come into balance, heal, sustain, and thrive.
Now don't step on the flaming point. Yana wani yana away ho hanna. Yana wani yana away ho hanna.
Love your body. Take control of your time. Steward your finances. Tune into your intuition. Balance your mind and calm your emotions. Teaching Ithaca Wellness. Hi, I'm Allison Rollins. Daniel Fusen and I just walked on fire, and we're going to talk about that. Daniel, how was your night?
It was wonderful. It is something that I'd done before, so I had a degree of anticipation, and this was an excellent experience of it. It was an incredible opportunity to channel years of life experience into a new threshold.
Okay. Tonight's workshop is not about firewalking, and it's not about arrow breaking or any of the particular challenges. Tonight's workshop is about life. It's about bringing more courage and confidence and focus to the challenges in your life. In the name of the Spirit of Guidance, thank the trees that gave themselves that we might learn. Ask that each person who steps onto the fire, steps off the fire unhurt and having received exactly what they need.
I have done 2 firewalks. They are incredible opportunities to tap this potential within ourselves. Breaking a board with your hand, breaking an arrow with a real point with your neck, and then finally to lead up to walking across a bed of coals.
Fire walking is an act of courage. For me, it wasn't walking the fire that was so intimidating. It was what I discovered about myself in the workshops leading up to fire walking.
Ready?
Ready.
Falling.
All the way.
I am here tonight for a couple of reasons. I'm really interested in doing the fire walk because this year is a year of blossoming. One of the ways that I'm doing that is through a video series featuring Tony as one of my wellness experts. This process of challenges is a way to get in touch with our best self, being the most well that we can.
Is an amazing experience to gift yourself. The first one I did was with my stepdaughter. We've always had a good relationship, but we've had our share of challenges. And for both of us to stand at the head of the flames, and the coals, and then to walk across that bed of coals together, it really did change our relationship and show each of us we have so much more we could offer each other.
Notice the way you engage the challenges. Notice the stuff that goes on in your head. Notice the way you take it on, whether it's about charging forward or holding back or whatever. And consider whether that's the same way you approach other challenges in life. Play full out, pay attention, let it be easy. And the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Any questions about this so far? As you take on these challenges, you guys are going to be pushing, in some ways, past your comfort zone. In some ways, taking some chances. And when someone takes a chance like that, and pushes themselves like that, they deserve a hug. And they don't deserve some lame-ass hug. So we're going to do a little hugging lesson. I'm going to demonstrate for you a number of hugs that you guys will have received over the years that were somewhat less than fully nourishing. Hey! Right, the bear hug. I'm afraid to touch you hug. Hey, good to see you, right? The burp the baby hug, right? Right? This is not sexual. It's really clear, right? Notice it's not fully present, okay? And finally, the kind of hug that you give to a dear friend, or the kind of hug that you give to your child, or someone you really care about. Hey, good to see you. Especially if it's someone that you don't already know, make sure that it's okay before you close in for the hug, right? Make sure that they're open for that.
For a moment,
You need it.
I'm not asking, but I can.
No worries. Think of the symbolism that you are creating by punching through this. And how awesome it will feel to punch through that thing that you have just written down on the board. Challenges. Be things you're moving towards, things you're moving away from. First thing to do is take anything off of dominant hand. Put that in my pocket. Put your foot, the opposite foot on the outside of the board. Bend your knees and sink down. You want to really get your belly involved in this. The punch can't come from here. It's got to come from here. Lift your palm up so that it's all the way up in your armpit. And then I'm going to be aiming past the board. So I'm aiming down here. And then I breathe into it. But the critical thing is I don't hold my breath. So I like to let out a yell when I do it. I'm looking at what I wrote on the board, imagining myself being done with these things, being through these things, breaking through them. I'm imagining a lightning strike that comes in from the top of my head and goes out through my palm, shattering this board. So the power will not come from my hand. The power will come from this lightning. Pumped! Other reactions?
Surprised I did it.
I love when people are surprised about it. Sometimes they'll do a little dance.
You relieve some anger.
Some relief, right? It's like, oh, what was I holding back some stuff? There was some build-up there. Tali Burkhan basically brought firewalking to America. He traveled in India and saw people doing it, and he was the one who realized, you know what, you don't have to be a yogi to pull this off, that this is something that can be used, a teaching tool. Offered one, play full out. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is do your level best at every challenge. And I had a student who came up to me after the first class and he said, Prof, this is a really cool topic and I like the way you teach, but I have to tell you that when you get the discussion going and there's people talking all over the room, because I like to teach with a kind of conversational style, he says, I sometimes lose track of the conversation. He says, I have been diagnosed as borderline retarded. This was at Cornell, okay? I mean, it's like, okay, so he says, I've been diagnosed as borderline retarded, and I just don't follow things that quick. He says, what I'd like to do is come up to you after class and make sure that I understood the key points of the class. The kid got an A in the class, he graduated with honors, and he ended up with a job at a good consulting company. This from a kid who had been diagnosed as borderline retarded. This was a kid who was playing full out with the cards he had been dealt. Let it be easy. Let it be easy. The anticipation, the fear for so many things are way more intense than the actual doing of them. And a third point is pay attention to what goes on inside of you as you encounter each of these exercises. Pay attention to what's going on for the other people in the room. So this will be sort of the overall framework that we're going to use to present these challenges. And that structure is that there are 5 processes that are necessary to achieve any goal. The first thing you got to do is to set your intentions, is getting clear about what we intend for the evening. Because the more clearly you set your intentions, the more likely you are to get there. The next thing you need to do in order to accomplish a goal is to visualize success, to see in your mind's eye yourself succeeding, to imagine what it looks like to do this. That the lessons that we get from tonight's workshop are use metaphors. You're gonna all get a pine board, and you're gonna write on the board the things that you want to break through. You can all punch through these boards. If you aim at the board, you're not going to break it. You have to aim past the board in order to break it. You start to feel powerful. And that feeling of power is one of the things that tonight's workshop really is about. Step 3 is finding people to trust and then trusting them. You need to find teachers. You need to find partners. You need to find employees. There's a ladder outside. You guys will climb up a few steps of the ladder, and then you're going to fall back into the arms of the rest of the group. Became popular back in the 80s. There were some people that were doing it that weren't trained in how to do it. I have been trained in how to do it. I know how to do it safely. But it's an extraordinary experience, surprisingly for the catchers as well as for the faller. It also brings the group together in a nice way. Come in, Pete. I just broke a board. Sort of making friends with this new self that you're discovering. Oh my God, who is this badass? Okay, so come on in. I mentioned before that accomplishing things often means leaning on other people. So trust is a necessary part of accomplishing most goals. So to embody that and to explore how we feel about trusting other people, you guys are going to be falling into the arms of the rest of the group. Okay? So stand 3 and 3 and 1 person at the end. And then you want to have your hands such that it's your hand and someone else's hand. Okay? The exact sequence isn't important as long as it's your hand and then someone else's hand. Bodies in, heads back. What I'm going to do and what I'm going to ask you guys to do is do this with your arms. Right? You're going to be putting your arms out and then my fingers are all intertwined, so my hands are taut. I want you to go up at least to the 3rd step. If you want to, you can go up to the 4th step, but I'm feeling like the 3rd step is good enough for me right now. I am doing the thing with my hands, which I will coach people about if they need it. And as I'm going to do ready, ready, falling, fall away, then I fall, and I'm going to keep my back straight. The temptation when you're falling is to go into a sit. And ironically, that concentrates the weight and I'd be more likely to go through. So I want to keep my back straight as I fall. I'll tell you guys that of all the challenges of the evening, this is the one that still gets me. Okay. I notice my heart pounding. Ready?
Ready.
Falling?
Fall away.
And then you lower me at the feet. And someone give me a hug. Yeah! 3rd step that's necessary in order to achieve any goal is to push through even when it becomes uncomfortable. When your first efforts aren't yielding fruit, even when you're not even getting traction and it doesn't feel like things are moving the way you want them to, you have to push through. Because the tragedy is that so often people back off when things don't go their way early on. And if they just stayed with it, they could accomplish way more.
Fire walking is definitely an act of courage, and in particular there is an exercise where you put an arrow in the soft spot of your throat and lean against a wall and allow your body weight to curve the arrow, and the arrow will snap. It was a very vulnerable space for me. I got to meet a lot of fear. Overcoming that, I really believe, is what prepared me for walking in the fire, and the collective group and all of their support and working together. The fire walking was sort of a celebration part of the ritual for me. While I thought that that would be the scariest, most eventful part of the evening, it actually turned out that wasn't as intimidating to me as workshops that led up to it.
Each of you will have the opportunity to place the back end against a tree and place the point of the arrow right here in your throat. It feels like a terrible, terrible place to go. You put it back in here, and you'll have safety glasses on. You think about the challenge in your life that feels like this, and then you step into it, and it's going to break.
Yep. So I've taken on some really big challenges, and I've succeeded, and now I need to lead in a very different way where people can trust me over time. And I'm scared of it. And it's what I'm for. Arrow too.
It's not made of, leather or anything. It's hard.
It's not going to feel good, but you just have to be fierce. Do this. You got this.
You got it. You got it. Yes! No, you're not allowed to. No. Only everyone else is allowed to talk.
I did this before. When you get yourself healthier, it brings things that are latent in your life experience to the surface. And when we were doing the arrow, it brought a trauma to the surface very quickly for me. And the idea in any healing modality that addresses things in this way is that you need to be ready for that, and you need to contain it in a sense. The love, the strength, and the discipline of whatever you're doing is stronger than whatever fear was latent in the system. And people repress fear and pain because it's too much, because some part of their body, some part of their emotions doesn't feel capable of handling it. So the best that individuals can do is just hold it down.
It's just trying to bring it back up.
And then finally, we're going to have the opportunity to walk the fire. And walking the fire is a synthesis of all the other lessons. It's about letting go, trusting yourself, trusting the divine, and going for it. Standing there barefoot in front of the hot coals, being scared, relaxing, focusing, and moving forward.
Renewing your superhero license. Having a superhero license is more than just wellness.
To have experienced this fire walk and be able to relate how it's affected us, and maybe offer that as a metaphor for how to cross into a new phase in their life. Going through the process of walking on fire is definitely an emotional...
Well, certainly for me, the most difficult part of the evening was breaking an arrow. Walking through that unpleasant feeling and coming through on the other side, excited with my 4 pieces of broken arrow.
Yeah, you really shattered it.
I really shattered it. I mean, I couldn't just break it in half. I couldn't just break my board in half. I had to break my board in 3 pieces. I had to break my arrow in 4 pieces.
Well, I'd suggest that some of that ease that you were feeling is because it was very well set up. Now, I've done 4 fire walks before this, and the principle is that if you face your fears in smaller, more manageable contexts leading up to it, you get yourself in a whole different spirit.
Really, like, it was a challenge, a physical challenge of the temperature of the coals, but certainly it just didn't feel like it was really that big of a deal by that point.
Yeah. Which I think is a sign of a job well done.
Yeah.
Several other times when I've walked on fire, it was pretty damn scary to walk over the fire. Like, it was more challenging. And this time for me, it was sort of like walking over popcorn. I mean, I was just there. I was just totally present. And I had so we broke the boards, then we did a truss fall halfway off a ladder, falling backwards into people's arms. And then we did this arrow. And the way the workshop worked for me is a wonderful metaphor for the difference between holistic health and a mainstream approach.
When I was out at Yoga Farm in Lansing, I coordinated with Daniela Hess a fire walk, Halloween party that was incredible. And to have Tony there, you know, encouraging them, and just the joy, the glee on those people's faces. To tap this power that's within yourself. If you could walk across fire, imagine what you could do if you sustained that courage, willpower, belief in yourself. What else could you walk across in your life? Anything. Anything. Thank you.
Because life demands courage. Because things are scary when you open your heart to what's going on, when you open your heart to trying something new. It's scary and hard to find a job. It's scary and hard sometimes to stay in a job, to find a relationship, to stay in a relationship, to have a child, to raise a child. All of these things are challenging. And to take on any challenge where you care deeply about it and you're not sure whether you're going to win or not, that's scary. And bringing more courage to it makes a difference.
We're going to be singing each other through the fire. There are a few different chants that I like to use. The main one I like to use is a Native American song of friendship that goes like this. Yana wana yana away ho hanna. 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 And as you sing it, I want you to feel it to your fingertips and your toes. And as you're getting ready to walk, I want you to hear the song of the group, and I want you to imagine the song of the group carrying you safely through the fire and across to the other side. We are going to sing each other through the fire. Okay? After that is about not carrying your fear in your body as you encounter this challenge. You need to let go of that fear. You need to relax. You need to breathe, stay focused. Be frightened, but breathe, stay focused, and then move forward. We can go into some other songs or other chants. One I like is it's a sort of a Tony Robbins kind of positivity one. It just goes, yes, 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 yes. It's fun, we don't even need to practice it, but that's another one we can do. And the third thing we can do is the silent firewalk. Silent firewalks have a little more risk to them because the chanting and the singing each other through the fire is one of the tools that helps us get through safely. However, when I've seen people do silent firewalks, everybody who does a firewalk ends up being excited by the experience. But when I've seen people do silent firewalks, they more often report feeling a religious experience.
Hi.
Hi. What are you hoping for from tonight?
My name's Kaya. My birth name is Daniel, and about 13 years ago I did an official firewalk and claimed my name as Kaya. And it was the start of 9 years of traveling. And I got down to a backpack, a guitar, and yoga mat, sleeping by rivers and learning from teachers and being pretty wild. Met a woman and got married and have a little baby, and I want to embrace the life I have here now and call my spirit in and serve with my experience. I'd like to end a cycle that began when I did that last firewalk and begin a new.
Firewalk in the name of the spirit of guidance. Thank the trees that gave themselves that we might learn. Ask that each person who steps onto the fire, steps off the fire unhurt and having received exactly what they need.
And we did that exercise of lighting the fire is setting your intentions. The next thing you need to do in order to accomplish a goal is to visualize success, to see in your mind's eye yourself succeeding, to imagine what it looks like to do this.
And people will have an opportunity to walk as many times as they want. And you can do the chant, you can do the Yanawana, you can do the yes, 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 or you can do silent. So people will do different kinds of fire walks. Don't stop during the fire walk, right? Don't jump up and down, don't stomp, don't tiptoe, don't run. Now don't step on the flaming part. Okay. Yanawana yana away ho hanna. Yanawana yana away ho hanna.
Yes, 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 yes.
Hugs, hugs. Voices and hearts come to sing together. Oh yeah, son. So maybe we want to begin by just taking a few deep breaths together.
This next pose is called time out. When you're at your desk and things are getting overwhelming, you can take a quick time out, just like you do in kindergarten or first grade. Put your seat all the way back in your chair. Make sure that your knees and your feet are in a nice straight line, and lean forward, straight backed, angling right into your hip creases. Put your elbows onto the desk and just lean forward into the desk. You can relax your upper back and shoulders and relax into the desk and let all that tension melt away. The mind is used to inquire into its own nature and to transcend the mind's identification with its thoughts and ego. When you need a time out from work, you can transcend your ego.
Sufi order. Sufism is my personal faith. This is a Sufi symbol, the heart with wings. I like it because it means to non-Sufis the same thing it means to Sufis. It's sort of like my sense that I'm on the right track if something is making my heart fly.
Trust yourself, trust the divine, and go for it. And you guys walk through fire. Congratulations, firewalkers!
Firewalkers! Yay! That's what I got for you. The idea is to stay calm and relaxed. Unclench your butt. That was weirdly. No, seriously. When I was doing this for NBC for the Today Show, and Jeff Rawson was doing this, actually I had to develop technology for doing a daytime firewalk, which is normally kind of dangerous because if you can't see the coals, that's kind of dangerous. So what I did was I used a blackout tent, and we had the fire outside, and we brought the coals inside to make a daytime firewalk for him so he could do it live on TV. And he asked me for last-minute advice, and I looked at him, and what came to me was unclench your butt.
Next week on Teaching Ithaca Wellness.